Good afternoon from Toronto, Canada, and Doha, Qatar. Good morning. The United States is the de facto the richest country in the world if you consider the economy as a whole. But if you measure it by the GDP per capita, then Qatar is the world's richest country. Once a poor British protectorate noted mainly for pearling, Qatar gained independence in 1971 and has become one of the world's richest countries because of its massive reserves of oil and natural gas and solid fiscal policies of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, of diversification and investments, including improvements in infrastructure, healthcare, education, as well as expansion of Qatar's manufacturing, construction, and financial service sector. Since winning its bid to host the 2022 World Cup, the government has expedited large infrastructure projects, including roads, light rails, transportation, a new port, Olympian standard stadiums, and other sporting facilities. The GDP value of Qatar represents 0.15% of the world economy. This is also where one of the best airlines in the world has its main base, Qatar Airways. Talking to us today, I am very, very honored and pleased to present His Excellency Akbar Al Baker, Secretary General of Qatar National Tourism Council, Group CEO of Qatar Airways. Welcome to World Tourism Forum Institute Recovery Townhall.
Thank you.
I want to first start off with yourself. I would describe you as an outlier. Outlier is a noun, something that is situated away from or classed differently from a main or related body. A statistical observation that is markedly different in value from the others of the sample. Outliers are those exceptional people who operate at the extreme outer edge of what is statistically plausible, as per Malcolm Gladwell. Talk to us, who is Akbar Al Baker, who works 17 hours a day? What makes you the leader and businessman you are? What makes you tick? What's your secret sauce?
Well, frankly speaking, I'm just a civil servant in my country, serving my beloved homeland. Well, what made me what I am is sheer determination and, of course, discipline. I went to a very strict boarding school, and that molded me into what I am, to always be very demanding, but at the same time, also accept when there is demands on my own self. And these two factors that has made me persevere in difficult times, in bad times, in good times, and I rose within the ranks in my government to be what I am today.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very humbly put, but I think you've made a very good point in there that you are not shy of taking pressure on yourself. So when you take pressure on yourself, you can expect the same from the others, a very important hallmark of a leader.
So, I don't think there is any job in the world that does not have pressure. Some people will buckle under pressure, but as far as I'm concerned, I enjoy when there is pressure on me. And this is the way it makes me deliver what is expected from the ruler and from the people of my country.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So moving on, the number of visitor arrivals in Qatar in each month of 2019 outpaced the number of visitor arrivals in the corresponding month of 2018 by 17%, totaling to 2.136 million visitors approximately. Fast forward to 2020 and COVID-19 happens. While Qatar's tourism sector remains small by comparison to the world catastrophe, there can be no denying that it has also taken a hit. As of the last count of July 19, just 3 days ago, you had a total number of infected people were 166,48,000. Total number of current active cases now reduced to just over 3,000. Total number of positive cases in the last 24 hours are just over 300. Total number of deaths to date are 115.7, and total number of deaths in the last 24 hours has reduced to 3. Some say you are flattening the curve, even if these are second highest in the region, these numbers. What's the outlook for tourism and hospitality moving forward? How is your country responding to the current situation?
First and foremost, let me to put the facts correct. It is not flattened, the curve is actually going down. And this is because of the massive testing Qatar has been doing. And if you are mentioning that we are one of the highest in the region, I think this is an incorrect statement. Qatar has been very open, very transparent, and Qatar has always made everything black and white, whilst the other countries in this region are hiding the fact that they have massive infection rates. This is why some countries within their own states are blocking their borders from their own citizens. So what does it tell you? So let me be very frank. We don't need to hide anything. Qatar is a country that has always been very forthright. And when something is not okay with us, we will mention that. So Qatar is today, the decline in the infected cases is, I think, a very, very positive sign, and one of the fastest decline of infected people anywhere in the world, especially when you look at the small population we have. Mm-hmm. As far as the tourism strategy and plan during this difficult period is, we don't want to rush into opening our country. Today, the pandemic is now getting a second peak around the world, and we don't want to import massive numbers of new cases by opening our country prematurely. We need to wait. We need to do it in a very studied and a planned way to make sure that the small population of my country is properly protected. There are a lot of ways for us to do business. We are encouraging staycations, which is inviting locals who are affluent to start occupying and having holidays within the country. We have beautiful resorts, we have very high standard hotels, we have a lot of entertainment within the country for the people, natural entertainment, like going for looking at whale sharks, doing windsurfing, doing kite surfing, etc., etc. So we have a lot of things, and of course, going to the dunes. We have a lot of other entertainments for the people within the country. So we are not in a hurry to open up our country, but we have a very robust strategy. You can see that already in the first 3 months of the year, we grew 33% over the same period last year. Yeah. What does it tell you about our country? We have started to do things which is correct, which is cultural, which is inviting people to see the unique beauty and facilities we have in my country. And in this regard, we are now really having a very robust tourism promotion strategy, which we will unveil. Unfortunately, it would have been done if it was not for the COVID. So we need time, but we will do it well, and we will excel in what we do, similar to what we did with Qatar Airways.
You know, and I see your point, because I'm in Canada, and I think I find a lot of similarities between Qatar and Canada in terms of opening the borders, because we are in a very similar state in the situation, because our neighbors, as you know, it's everybody, it's an open story, you know, what is happening. So we are being judicious as well, and the government is being very proactive. So I believe on 8th June 2020 is when the government announced that Qatar will reopen in 4 phases. The phases can be divided into categories: domestic reopening and external reopening. And I agree, Qatar's tentative and judicious approach acknowledges that reopening is not a straightforward process, and that milestones may have to change as the situation evolves. Evidently, there's a range of issues that need to be considered for the effective reopening. Can you just talk us through some of those measures?
Our reopening is going to be in stages. Like I said earlier, we are not going to be in a hurry to do things that will be detrimental to the public health interest of the citizens and residents of my country. So we already opened the first phase. The second phase is from the 1st of next month, where people who have residence permit and who have been stranded outside and in country lockdowns will be allowed to come back. The third phase will be that we will then allow the blue-collar workers to come into the country. And the fourth phase will be by the end of September or October, when we will start inviting citizens who are allowed to come without visa from green countries, countries that have very low rates of infection. Again, this is to protect my country from a second wave, which you can see in many countries in the world, and you can see very massively in your southerly neighbor.
Yeah, okay. Just moving on to the World Cup. You know, in Dubai, the Expo 2020 is a multi-billion-dollar innovation fair, largest to be held in Arab world, has been postponed by a year because of the outbreak, and will now be held from October the 1st, 2021 to, I believe, March 2022. Qatar's hosting of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, the biggest sports event, where it is expected that millions of fans will visit the country of the world's premier football tournament. Most will require accommodation and entertainment beyond the stadiums and will boost the tourism industry. However, even though FIFA on 14 July announced the dates and times for the games, the ripples of the pandemic are being felt from now to reach 2022. The 32-team tournament draw is said to be pushed back by 2 months after FIFA reschedules qualifying playoffs due to the pandemic. The earliest option now is to hold it in June ahead of the November games. Does that concern you? How much are the things on track? Just talk to us about it.
Look, whatever you have heard, whatever has happened with the Expo in Dubai or any other country, let me to tell you one thing very frankly. Qatar is very much on the delivery of the FIFA 2022. We know that we will do it very well. We also want to deliver the best tournament ever happened in the world. I know it's a small country, that so many matches will happen in a very small country. People are looking at it, you know, in a negative way, but you see sometimes people misjudge the determination and perseverance of the people. Qatar has always delivered very big occasions and tournaments and events, and we are going to do the same. I don't think there is any country that has taken part in FIFA or Olympic have had the infrastructure ready in record times. You know, several of our stadiums are already ready. There is just a couple of them that needs to be completed. Most of the road infrastructure is completed. The metro, built in record time, is already fully functional.
Okay.
So you can see that everything is falling in place, and we are looking forward to hosting this this tournament in my country in 2022. We have world-class hotels. We have enough accommodations. A lot of accommodations are still being built, and by the end of next year, all the infrastructure accommodation facilities will be ready 1 year ahead of time. In addition to this, we are also having a major expansion at Hamad International Airport. This was started only 4 months ago, and we are expecting that it will be delivered on deadline by June of 2022. So we are all ready.
Okay, fantastic. And I think one of the key aspects is the fact that Qatar is small and the stadium's proximity, there's not a lot of distance. That's to the advantage, right? And the accessibility and the maneuvering between the stadiums. So thank you for sharing that with us. So let's turn to Qatar Airways. Just bear with me as I cover some impressive insights for our viewers. You joined Qatar Airways on November 1st, 1996, and the rest is the aviation history. With just 4 leased jets, you decided to relaunch Qatar Airways with a very aggressive 10-year growth plan to become one of the world's leading 5-star airlines in a span of just 2 decades. An airline which flies more than 200 aircrafts into over 160 destinations. Under your leadership, Qatar Airways has been named Airline of the Year several times. Now, during COVID-19, only one airline continues to provide an honest, reliable network, trusted to operate, to keep going, to keep connecting the world by maintaining a global network that never fell below 70 destinations. Qatar Airways has won renewed respect, led the industry during these challenging times by unrivaled strategy, especially in comparison to those airlines that have fully grounded their operations. Qatar Airways has remained up to date with the latest in international airport procedures, implemented the most advanced safety and hygiene measures on board its aircraft in Hamad International Airport, recently voted the best airport in the Middle East for the 6th year in a row. It has implemented stringent cleaning procedures and applied social distancing measures throughout its terminals. Now, 4 months into the pandemic, the airline continues to lead the global recovery of the aviation industry. Just a few days ago, relaunching 11 more destinations. It's your largest single day of restart in what Qatar Airways has dubbed Takeoff Wednesday. By mid-July, the airline's network has expanded to over 430 weekly flights to more than 65 destinations, with additional routes set to open. Talk to us what drove this successful strategy to ensure travelers can plan their travel with peace of mind. What other safety measures, policies are on the table?
Nothing has made us to achieve this other than the business acumen. We at Qatar Airways are very smart at tapping on the opportunities that we get. Every downturn, every slowdown, every recession has always opportunities. And we saw that when all the airlines in the world grounded their aeroplanes, we looked at it as an opportunity for us to continue. We knew that overnight, millions of people were stranded all over the place, and a lot of people of your country were airlifted by us safely back home. We decided that we will shrink our network, we will reduce frequencies, we will park airplanes, but we will still continue to use at least 50% to 60% of the capacity available to us, both for passengers and for cargo. Qatar Airways has been a pioneer in delivering millions of tons of cargo to all over the world, PPEs, foods, spare parts, medical equipment, and at the same time, carried 2.1 million passengers safely to their home. So we saw this as a huge opportunity for us to not stop or slow down and look at all the opportunities that are available to us. And this has also given us a lot of goodwill of the people, because they were all stranded all over the world, and we were the only reliable partner that could carry them. And another important thing we did, that we paid back every single dollar of ticket refund to passengers. While most of the airlines were issuing vouchers, delaying refunds, or trying to create bureaucracy, Qatar Airways wanted to show to the people that we are a very robust company and they can rely on us. And in this, we have come out with flying colors.
That's absolutely, I agree with you there. But tell us, because there has been that you've had to cut back some of the workforce, like any other airline. You know, they've been some that up to 20% perhaps, but you've got which still, if you take your total number, 20% would comprise less than 10,000. You know, you've got other airlines which are laying off up to 30,000 people at the most. Just yesterday, I read the most bizarre news that Iceland Air lays off all of its flight attendants and will instead have pilots to do the job. How worse will it get for the aviation industry as a whole before it starts getting better?
If there is a second spike, it will be a disaster for the aviation industry.
Right.
I hope I am wrong, but let me talk about our company. At Qatar Airways, we first and foremost wanted to reduce the pain of redundancy to our employees. These are the employees by which this airline was built. So it is my duty to appreciate them. So we found innovative ways of not going up to 20%. We followed a very correct process in which we will be able to both cut costs. What is it all about? At the end of it is reducing costs. So we did a lot of exercise to reduce costs so that we don't have to lay off the original number of people that we wanted to lay off. Secondly, we will re-recruit these employees who have good records, who have been very committed to the company. Once we start re-recruiting, because aviation will grow, it will not be stagnant forever. Once the business starts revamping, coming up, growing, we will first recruit the people that we laid off. So by this, even the people that are laid off understand the predicament. You can see the airlines are all getting bankrupt. They are in dire circumstances, dire situations. And we at Qatar Airways want to make sure that first, when we let people go, we do it with compassion, with feelings, and give them the opportunity to come back when the airline is rebounding.
And some of your critics, you know, that happens all of the time for the Gulf airlines. That there were talks at one point. You did mention that there was an issue with the cash flow, but that's not, and that you may have to take a government subsidy, but that never really happened, right?
Because no, I did not say anything about the cash flow. What I said, that we were using the cash reserves that we have.
Right.
We have not gone to our government for equity or for subsidy or for state aid, like we were being accused of doing by all these airlines that eventually ended up in subsidies and state aid.
Right.
What I mentioned that yes, as our government is the owner of Qatar Airways, and if we needed an equity injection, that we will go to our owner, which is the government of Qatar.
Fair enough. Fair enough. On July 2nd, I read a headline that Qatar Airways has the resilience strategy Emirates needs for COVID-19. Emirates built itself around large aircrafts, not just the A380s, but also the 777s that will be difficult to fill in the sluggish years ahead. Qatar favored medium-sized jets like the 350s, A350s, and 787s. That can be viable with fewer passengers. For wide-bodied with under 350 seats like A350s and 787s, I could be wrong, but Qatar has 111 aircrafts. Emirates has only 10 of these. So is that a better strategy than flying around the world with half-empty A380s? Will Qatar...
No, it is the other way around, what you mentioned.
Okay.
Qatar Airways has 10 380s and Emirates has over 120 A380s.
Okay.
Yes, we have grounded our aeroplanes that are large, especially the A380s, and the older A330s, which will not fly in Qatar Airways fleet again. However, because we have different sizes of aeroplane, it gives us that edge over other people that have only one or two types of airplane. So we have a mix of 787s, we have a mix of 350-900s, 350-1000, 777-300s, and 777-200s. So depending upon what is the demand, we can rotate the capacity. And this gives Qatar Airways the resilience it has when it is competing with other airlines in this difficult period of time.
Because of the different types of and the sizes of the aircrafts that
Yes.
you're holding in your fleet. Okay.
Yes.
So let's move to the investments. In November 2018, the decision of establishing the National Tourism Council, QNTC, under the chairman of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Interior, His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasser bin Khalifa Al Thani, launched the beginning of the new phase of the development of tourism in Qatar. Qatar National Tourism Council, under your leadership as its Secretary General, continues to focus on medium to large-scale tourism investments. Qatar has attracted in recent years a number of international investments, including the signing of around 17 memorandums by Qatar Hospitality, the National Tourism Council, the Qatar Airways, and Brixos Hotels with the organizers and operators of international tourism, which currently provide 4 million tourists around the world. What is your message to the world? Is Qatar still open for investments in spite of the pandemic?
Yes, we are. We have massive tourism infrastructure investments that will be on offer. Mm-hmm. It is an invitation to any investor that wants to come to Qatar and invest. We guarantee tax exemptions. We guarantee repatriation of profits. We guarantee their investments. Qatar has a very friendly business regime in place. And it is exactly what investors look at. So as Qatar has such big plans to expand its tourism sector, there are many opportunities that will be available, including providing real estates to developers at very concessionary rates for a long period of time.
Okay, thank you. So 14 July marked a landmark victory for Qatar. The International Court of Justice in The Hague has ruled that the UN's aviation watchdog has the right to hear a complaint over an illegal blockade imposed on Qatar for over 3 years by Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. How significant is that? Is it too early for a victory lap? Do you see things ever getting back to normal with your neighbors?
Well, there is no other alternative for these people than to come to normalcy within the region. We are a region that has suffered a lot during with so many wars, so many conflicts, so many animosities, and frankly speaking, Qatar was vindicated with the false allegations brought by our neighbors. And this was the first victory. There will have to be many other victories, and we are confident that we will be victors, because the world community have realized that we were victim of jealousy, of false accusation, for making us a pariah in the region. For all these accusations that has been laid upon us, we have proved that they are wrong and we are right. And this ICJ's victory shows that Qatar is standing its ground, is protecting its interests, it is safeguarding its sovereignty, and the country is really a victim of false propaganda done by our neighbors.
Thank you very much. So in conclusion, I'd like to say then, listening to you, that resilience is not a destination. It's a way of being. A resilient country is not one that is simply able to turn to where it left off before the crisis. Rather, the truly resilient country is one that has transformed, having built the attitudes, beliefs, agility, and structures into its DNA that enable it to not just recover to where it was, but catapult forward quickly. Qatar is that country, a land that understands a traveler can never be a stranger, just a friend not yet met. I'm ready to learn through unique experiences, a place of ancient cultures, authentic traditions, yet with a contemporary vision of the future. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
It's been an honor.
Thank you.